I had a question about happiness.
Yeah.
This comes from several years ago. I was hired to work on a play that was about two parents dealing with a child who had cystic fibrosis, and it was a play written for and designed to be presented to people in hospitals who have to deal with parents, so they had to learn how parents react. So, but the crux of the play, and what kept getting repeated over and over again, was the parents' shock at learning this: how are we ever going to deal with this struggle day to day? How's our child ever going to be happy? How are we ever going to be happy? And it seemed to me that it was shocking. This is a horribly wrong question to ask to a certain degree. Certainly happiness is an issue, but there's so much more at stake than just happiness. And then it got me to thinking for quite a few months after this project. I was really noticing and shocked by the constant drive to find happiness as an end all to satisfy everything. And that it was all happiness, smiling. That's a fullness, but in fact it's not. It's an emptiness to a certain degree.
But don't you think that, especially in these cases of terminal diseases and so on, that the only consequent answer is ignorance, no? Yeah. Which is why I'm against happiness. Like, for example, another story which I like, this Huntington disease, no? This is one of the few cases where you really have radical genetic determinism. There it's clear, like I can, not to be sadistic, you analyze my blood and you can tell me if it is the case, after genetic analysis, that now you will be healthy for 3 years, in around 3 years' time you will develop the first symptoms, half year later you will be dead. Complete determinism, you can up to a couple of months up or down, you can even determine in advance not only that I will die, but how, when. But now what's the catch? The catch is that the very doctor who invented this test is afraid to apply it on himself. So it's interesting that the only people who have in their families Huntington's disease and accept the test are those who, usually it's the pathetic parental care staff, who have children and want to know if they have it, so that if they have it, they can take care financially, provide for the children. But then I ask myself a very simple question. From the standpoint of happiness, what would I have done from the opportunistic standpoint of happiness? And I found only one solution. The opportunistic happiness solution would have been the following one. Let's say that you are a very good doctor and a friend of mine. I would have asked you.
I would tell you the truth.
No, but that's precisely what I got. No, my idea would be, analyze me, but don't tell me anything. Just if you know, let us say, if you learn that 3 years from now the illness will start, then a month before, kill me in my sleep. Without me knowing. That would be the closest you can come to happiness. But it doesn't work, of course. Why not? Because every time I would meet you, I would know. So, let's go to the end. The only true happiness would have been an anonymous state agency doing this to all of us without us even knowing it. This is the solution of happiness, I claim.
That one, okay. Okay, first Ray, then Victor.
I wondered if you can provide another example of a nation that had as one of its premises the pursuit of happiness, and what has become of that nation.
Oh, it's not, I think that, but isn't it that in modernity, especially in modernity, happiness is basically, I don't think even we have to look far, isn't it silently admitted today that the state's main duty, even more than to guarantee freedom, is to provide happiness? It started even with, I think it was James, the one who was, whose head was cut off by Orwell, Charles I, who issued this famous statement, "My God, I will make the English people happy, even if I will have to force them to be happy with the army," and so on. I mean, it began there. No, it began there in a way. So I think that one even doesn't have to look for it. Okay, in the case of United States, it's more specific and so on and so on. But which is why I think you find all the paradoxes of happiness in an even more direct way. For example, what happens with subjectivity? I read recently an excellent book. I love it. The book is How to Disappear Completely. And it's quite a serious book. I mean, not dreaming. The idea is, let's say you are tired of your life and you want to disappear and create new identity. It gives you very precise instructions how you do it. The idea is that he discovered, this guy, that where the birth registers are kept in the United States are not at the same place than when death registers are kept. So the idea is you notice a certain person approximately of your age died. Then you write to his place of birth, to local state authority place, whatever, and you just ask for a new birth certificate and you give some money and you can get it without documents, they send it to you.
No.
Yes, it's done.
No, this book is outdated. Say,
okay, but it was...
They know it now, but it
really,
was for many years.
Yeah, because then with this you get social security number, with this you become member of the union, you get a credit card and you are in.
But and I ask you for identity before you get your
really?
birth. Yeah.
Okay, then that's American terrorism whatsoever. No, but my point is that this book series is wonderful. This was published by a publishing house which specializes in books which I think are a kind of obscene truth of these official books of, how to make your life happy, how to succeed. The other titles published by this house are like how to take revenge on your enemies, how to ruin someone with bad rumors, and so on and so on. I mean, it's wonderful books.
How to Survive Prison, I think, is one of those.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, so you're going to prison.
Now,
they teach you how to make a shiv, they teach you they teach you ethics.
But you are not talking about the other one, which I like, which I think it's theoretically important book, but totally different. That this is not the same as, if you mean that the worst case survivor.
It's different. It's a different one.
Because I love those books precisely because of, how should I put it, again, they deal with real life situations. The only problem is that you never encounter these situations. No, like you have in the bestseller book, you have advices like, what do you do when an alligator or a crocodile bites your leg? The idea is you tap him on the nose because it automatically, or what do you do when a hungry lion wants to attack you? It's simple. You must have, unfortunately, a jacket. You open it because the lions don't think in depth terms. They think that you are then much bigger and usually turn around and so on. No, what I mean is that it's very mysterious, the success of this book. I think there is a deep, almost progressive agenda in it. Namely, let me ask you a simple question. Which was the only American movie of the last years where you have a spectacle of working class solidarity? It was that otherwise very boring movie, The Perfect Storm. I think that it's almost a model of how in these conditions of extreme catastrophe, a kind of elementary, although in a small group, working class solidarity emerges. But it tells a lot about today's situation, that we need such an extreme situation in order to be able to imagine at all any kind of elementary working class solidarity. Sorry, I talked too much.